Len, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick. I'll try to make it real quick, and I'm boring. But if you're a new listener, stay tuned. If you're an on the fence listener or a regular listener or viewer, I just wanted to say a few things. I go back and I watch our episodes that we've already made, and mostly for a laugh because it's unscripted and it's kind of funny to see what we say and stuff like that. So, but also to maybe see where we could maybe improve a few things or come up with other ideas to be entertaining. But then I got thinking because I saw a couple episodes and I was thinking, people that don't know us, know us, don't realize probably that we're kind of in a sense, Andy and I feel as though like we're kind of characters on this show per se. I don't want people to think for any reason that we're some how do I want to say arrogant a-hole douchebags that wish harm on people and that find humor in people's pain and suffering, because it's the furthest thing from the truth that I could possibly even come out with. And Andy and I, and I'm sure he'd agree that we're probably the two most down-to-earth, laid-back people that you'll ever meet that would do anything for anybody at any time. So I just didn't want to put the a-hole, because people that don't really know us would probably think, wow, these guys are... And I'll say this, one episode that stuck out is, if you've been following or if you're new, there was an episode that Andy and I and some friends were at a McDonald's years ago as teenagers, and some big hillbilly out of the blue threatened to beat us up out in the parking lot. And I said, imagine if the roles were reversed and we went out there and bounced his head off the sidewalk for 15 minutes. And when I watched that episode, I was like, that didn't sound right. It sounded like a real dick move. And I'm thinking, we're not violent guys, nor would we ever do that unless our lives depended on it. So that was one of the scenarios that I felt
it's something we joke about. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I want this show personally to be perceived as, adults don't get to be childish nearly enough. Adults don't get to act like kids, teenagers or 20-year-olds anymore. So to me, that's what I want this show to be part of, is when you tune into our show, maybe it'll give you that sense of watching your favorite cartoon as a kid in an adult version. We're being silly. We're down-to-earth normal guys, but we find things funny and we put funny twists on, like death. I say it all the time.
Me too.
Yep. He's dead.
Yep.
Death's horrible. We don't like death, but if you can't joke about it, it will drive you insane. So, and I got laughing because the guy that drove by on his motorbike, I wouldn't go out there and throw a branch in his spokes and watch him get hurt. But we use the word imagine a lot. Our imagination, we want you to be part of it and maybe jog your own and join us in being ridiculous, childish people for whatever, half hour, 50 minutes, however long the show goes on for. So I just wanted to say that, the Three Stooges were funny. You don't stick crowbars up people's noses and bang each other over the head with sledgehammers, but that's what made the Three Stooges funny. So we're not a-holes. We're really actually kind, sensitive, fun-loving people that wear their heart on their sleeve. And we want you to join us in being silly and have a few laughs.
Just an escape.
An escape from the real world. I peed on somebody's seat in high school. I was a teenage kid. Looking back, I'm sure everybody watching has done some really stupid things, especially many years ago. Looking at what kids deal with nowadays, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So just join us and be childish for an hour.
And I want to actually point out that story, we were on I don't want to say almost empty bus, but yeah, it was almost empty. I mean, he peed on a seat, but it was like, he never thought that anybody was going to sit in that seat, especially since the way it normally went on a bus was somebody sits in this seat, then probably nobody sits in another seat for like 3 or and hey, there we are.
Hey.
And so it wasn't like a premeditated, this is a full bus, somebody's going to sit in this. It was silly. Yeah. We were having a good time. And then it was like, holy shit, somebody sat there.
I didn't want to go on a long rant and try to justify. I will not,
sure.
We're not going to justify every joke that we've ever been through.
That one stood out to me. It was like,
for people that are just tuning in or on the fence, or maybe have tuned in and said, the hell with these guys. that is the furthest thing that Andy and I are all about in real life. But it's fun to be childish for an hour a day, well, an hour a week.
And yeah, and I totally agree. And Len, that was just hit that one out of the park explaining it. For in retrospect or in comparison, last week I tried to talk about how I wanted this to be a good place for people to escape, and I did such a shitty job doing it that I went through and deleted that 6 minutes from the show because I fucked it up so bad, and it just sounded awful. Len, you nailed it. That was perfect.
I just felt as though we used to go on vacation, and I remember we'd act like fools. Me and I'll say a cousin of mine, and we're adults. But I remember him saying as the week went on, we went every year to the fair, and I remember him saying, "Oh man," he's like, "The week's almost over. We're gonna have to act like adults again. We're not gonna be we can't act like 14-year-olds anymore." And that's the best way I could describe this this show is a release for adults to not only laugh at stupid stuff, laugh at imaginary things, and jog your memories, silly things that you used to laugh at. And you know what? Please share them with us because we could just run with it.
Love to hear you. Yeah,
yeah,
we would love to hear your stories because I mean
so
that's the
many.
one thing that when people did talk to us, have reached out to us, say, "Oh, that reminds me of this, and that reminds me of all
Yeah.
these great times."
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're here for,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Don't judge because we're like I said, we're basically characters acting silly for this duration. But let's roll from that. I just wanted to throw that out there.